Hey, what's up?
Hey dude, I just got the coils on the car. You wanna go for a little test drive?
On what car?
The M2.
Welcome back to the channel. I am Brad with Fine Tuned, and today we are working on a BMW M2 competition. We have Christian behind the camera, and we're going to be doing some suspension upgrades on this thing. So we have the Ohlin's road and track here. So the customer just wanted a more track-based setup, but also comfortable on the road. So these road and tracks really do the best of both worlds. They have adjustable valves in them, so you could change the dampening of it, which is really awesome. We'll get this M2 up in the air and get the old suspension off and put the new ones on. It's very simple. We just have to change over the top hats and change over a little bit of stuff on here. But we'll get this thing up in the air and take off the wheels. We are working on the front suspension here. We're going to basically remove this knuckle from the shock absorber or the strut. We got the sway bar end link removed, and we got the pinch bolt for the strut removed. So those were just 16 millimeters that we got out of the way. And now we have a fancy tool that I got off Amazon, and basically you screw it in and it separates this pinch style in here. So we'll go ahead and do that right now so we could remove this knuckle from the strut. It always helps to have the right tools for the job. Otherwise, we would be doing this with a chisel. Okay, so we got that spread apart, and now we should be able to wiggle this down. There we go. And just like that. Nice. So we'll lower it down and get to the bolts up top. And yeah, things are looking really simple on the front end of it. All right, we got the vehicle lowered down, so we need to get to these bolts on the top of the strut here. And yeah, this is a beautiful engine bay. This is the S55 engine, and it's got a nice carbon fiber brace on the front of it. Air to water intercooler. It's a very good engine. There's a couple things that you need to know about them, but usually they're rock solid in these things, so they definitely produce a lot of power. And the newer engines, the or the S58, those are great engines too. So we're just removing this cowling here. There's a few push-ins that we got to do to access it, and then we'll be able to get to those nuts or bolts on the top of that strut there. So we have to remove the carbon fiber bracing, the bracing under here, because there is a bolt that is hidden on the back side of here that we need to access. So we'll go ahead and remove the other side and get all this bracing off. We got the strut assembly out after loosening up a few components up here. It's crazy. The top head of the strut is held on by 8 bolts, which is just, it's crazy. So we were able just to loosen up these bolts for the stiffening plate and lift it up slightly to get to the 2 bolts underneath this one. The driver's side, you didn't have to do anything like that. All the bolts were accessible on that side, which is cool. So yeah, the passenger side is the only side you have to worry about. So we got that shock off here, and it is in our hands now, so we will take this top hat off here with the impact. There's not too much tension on this shock, so it could come off nice and easy. So that's off, and the only thing you need from this part is this top hat here. So this is actually the bearing plate up here that spins. So we'll be putting this bearing plate on the Ohlin coilovers. That's the dust boot. There's rubber spacers that need to go on, the plastic one on the bottom, so that's all assembled. Ohlin's is facing upright, so that's good. And these are the front springs. You would think the stiffer or the thicker ones would be for the front, and they're not, so don't make that mistake. I've done that once before, never again. So just grab this and go ahead and set it on this assembly here. Make sure it spins good. And I'll go ahead and loosen this so we could get our washer and nut on it. We got all the boring stuff knocked out off camera, but basically we put the top hats on, we tighten the top nuts to torque. We set the preload of these springs here and also set the ride height adjustment down here. So it should be all set and ready to go on the car, but we won't actually know the height until we get the wheels on and these in and everything sitting on the ground. And then on top of it, this will settle a little bit over time. So we'll go ahead and put the shocks on and get everything buttoned up on the front here. So we got the top side all buttoned up with the rain trays and everything. We're going to put this knuckle on the shock assembly right now. Okay, I'm just going to use the jack to seat it in the top here. And then we could put the pinch bolt in and put the bracket on for the brake line and the brake pad sensors. And then we could even put on the sway bar end link right now. We got the front end all wrapped up, we got the wheels on it, so now it's time to do the rear axle here. I think this will be pretty simple because the bolts are on the outside for the shocks up here. So I took 2 of the 3 out up top here, so I'll take the 3rd one out. And then I already loosened up the bottom here. It's an 18 on the bottom here, so we could take that bolt out. And we should be able to pull this down or push up on it. There we go. All right, that shock came out nice. So what we have to do now is we have to swap over this top plate on the new shocks and yeah, put it back on. But before we do that, we have to get the spring out, and basically I think we could pry down on the back here and slide it on out. We got the top hat replaced on the shock, and then we're just going to put the adjustment and the spring in the rear. And in order to do that, we have to remove the top hat on, or the spring perch, just like that. And then this new one will sit in there. And you also have to remove all the rubber that is originally in there as well. And then when we lower it down, we'll just lower this in there, and it should be all good to go on this one. All right, we got the Ohlins all set on this BMW M2. It took a little bit to fine tune the suspension on this, but we have it really dialed in nice. I really like it. Special thanks to Matt Park at Toge Factory in Illinois for taking care of the Ohlins and shipping them out to me. literally ordered them one day and got them next day delivery here. So awesome with that. And yeah, everything's looking good. We're going to jack up this car. I did warm it up, and we're going to do an oil change on this right now. So we'll get to it. All right, we got the oil change all done, this M2 comp. So now we're going to test drive this thing and make sure all the suspension's good on it. And if all is well, it'll go back to the owner.
You're putting a spotlight on a Fawn River flower, Master.
All right, so we got the new suspension on. We're going for a little test drive here. We got fresh oil in this thing. And yeah, we're just checking to make sure there's no clunking or anything weird like that on this. So we'll take it easy. We'll let the oil get up to temperature. And yeah, we'll just drive the thing. So far, initial impressions are, I mean, the suspension's definitely, it's firmer, but it's not bad at all. You know, it doesn't hurt your spine really. It's really nice. The Ohlin coilovers, they're just a nice balance for driving on the road, and then also if you want to do a track day, they're great for track days as well. All the valving on it's adjustable, so you could adjust the front on the bottom and also the rear on the bottom too. So you could really get it dialed into your liking on these things. Yeah, you can feel the bumps in the road, but it's not too crazy. This does have the DCT 7-speed transmission. I mean, it's very smooth. The shifts are just very quick on this thing. Suspension is really planted on this car. I mean, left and right is very tight. All right, that's going to be a wrap for this BMW M2 competition. We got this thing sitting right, we got fresh oil in it, and this thing is track ready for this summer here. So the customer should be absolutely excited with this. And yeah, stay tuned for the next videos. We got some cool content coming up, so just like and subscribe to the channel. Thank you guys.